Hey there, welcome to Let's Talk Social, the podcast where we break down the ever-evolving world of digital marketing so you can stay ahead of the curve. I'm Rich Haik, and today we're diving into a hot-button issue, cancel culture and online reputation management, specifically with socials. Whether you're a business owner, marketer, or someone who's ever posted a tweet and regretted it later, this episode is going to be for you. So first things first, let's define what we're talking about. Cancel culture is the act of holding individuals, brands, or public figures accountable for their actions, often by calling for boycotts, public shaming, or some sort of mass unfollowing on social media. They essentially trash you on the internet. At its core, it's about consequences. Sometimes it's justified, like when big companies engage in unethical practices, and other times it can just feel like digital mob mentality. They may not even know what they're mad about, they just know everyone's mad about this topic, and they dive right in. And in today's hyper-connected world, a single misstep can go viral in just hours. So if you are a business owner or marketer, you might be wondering, how could this affect me? And I'm going to give you some real life examples as to how it could, some things to watch out for. So we're all familiar with Honey, the app that, well, you may not, maybe not everyone is familiar with Honey, but Honey is an app. It's a browser extension that saves you money. And they recently had a major browser extension scandal where they faced backlash after revelations that it was replacing affiliate links from influencers and people that were supposed to be getting money, which was effectively siphoning money away from content creators. So essentially, an affiliate would post a link to Honey. Honey would reroute it all, and it would give basically itself back the credit, and it would rob the influencer of the money. And people figured this out, and there was a huge outcry. I actually even saw this on YouTube and deleted Honey just because I thought it was so wrong. And honestly, it led to a huge public outrage and a wave of uninstalls, like myself included. So that was an example of a company doing something, getting caught for it, and then losing tons and tons and tons of money off of it because essentially they were not loyal to the people that they were supposedly supporting, which were the influencers that were posting about Honey all the time. They were going outside of their brand deals and messing with the contracts. So people took a huge uninstall and mislike to that. They just did not like that happening at all. Another brand misstep would be companies like Balenciaga, Adidas. They had those tone deaf campaigns recently with the controversial partnerships, which also forced them to issue public apologies. And in some cases, they had to overhaul just entire marketing strategies. Balenciaga had I don't want to get into it. I don't even know if I can say it on this podcast. Just go look it up. But both of them actually had something as well. And it was about not being in tune with the audience and what they actually wanted. So the big lesson to take away is that one viral controversy, and even in a local scale, I've seen this in a small city, the same thing happen. It can lead to lost revenue, tarnished brand trust, and just long-term damage if you don't handle it properly. I've literally seen a small business owner in a town with less than 50,000 people lose their business just because the online trash talking and all of that stuff got so out of hand, people stopped coming. And your reputation isn't just about avoiding scandal, it's about being proactive with your goodwill. And so here's a few ways that you can do that. Authenticity, it always wins. So make sure that you're transparent about your values and your practices. Consumers can always spot performative activism like from a mile away. So just be authentic when it comes to the goodwill that your business actually wants to perform. Another's like engaging in responsibility. Don't just like talk to your audience. You need to listen to them. You need to be responsible for the engagement that you're giving. You need to address concerns genuinely and promptly. Like you can't just brush things off and act like they don't matter. Every little thing, can turn into the snowball effect where you want to make sure that you're monitoring what's going on. And speaking of monitoring, monitor anytime someone mentions your brand. You can set up something like Google Alerts. Obviously, just be checking your social media channels on a regular basis. That's going to help you stay ahead of potential PR nightmares. So if someone tags you in one of their posts and there's a lot of bad things being said, you can choose to either respond to that, remove the tag. There's lots of ways you can go about this. Send a private message to the person and, try to get to the bottom of what happened. That's going to stop the snowball from happening. That's going to let that person either choose to either make a follow-up post, remove that post, put a comment on that post saying, hey, I was wrong, or change the caption, whatever it is. And so monitor your mentions. It's an obvious thing, but again, not everyone's checking their social media on a regular basis. And a lot of people don't have Google Alerts. If you don't know what that is, just Google Alerts. You can type in your business name and it will send you an email anytime a new article or a new thing is posted about your business, and it will send it to you. That way you have a link directly out to it and you can get ahead of it quickly. Next thing is, if crisis does hit, respond, don't react. So The biggest mistake a brand can make is either ignoring backlash or responding too hastily without a clear strategy. We recently had a past client. I just am all over the web. I see things here in our local city, and they got a bad Google review, and he went back on there and just cursed them out. And it was a really bad look. And they did not acknowledge the issue. They didn't apologize. And there was no like clear public action step of like, hey, we're going to make this right for you. So acknowledging the issue is just saying like, hey, we hear you. We know that problem exists. We're going to look into that for you. And that's going to give you a little bit more time to get a thoughtful response out to them, maybe a private message or something like that. If you do need to apologize, we don't want a non-apology. So something where it's like, I'm sorry if I offended you, or we're sorry you don't like our product. That often can just make things worse, especially if it's actually your business's fault or your fault. If it's like a personal branding kind of thing, you need to take accountability where it's actually due. And then about taking action, a lot of people can get caught up in like the meta conversation. So it's like the conversation about the conversation. Don't worry about that. You need to go to the root cause and outline the clear steps to get to the root of the issue that can actually lead to change. So this could be reevaluating your partnerships, revising policies, looking at how the product's created, how the food is made. Maybe it's an employee that had a bad reaction, so investing in employee training. All of that kind of stuff can be things that you can actually take action on and can acknowledge inside of whether it be an apology or a direct message like, hey, we're sorry that you had to go through this. We're aware of the issue, and we have actually taken steps now to where this is going to be happening. And then if you really wanted, you can even offer up, something to make it a little bit better. If they even do ever want to come back, a coupon, some sort of free something, a discount. I don't know. You do what's right for your business. We've all kind of had maybe smaller issues, but if it really gets into the weeds and this is a burning red hot fire issue, that's probably a good way to go about it. Lastly, just on this whole topic, something that really can help that I've found at least is building a brand that's resilient. And really what that gets into is like your reputation management isn't just about like damage control. It's about long-term resilience. So brands with a strong, positive customer relationship, they're able to withstand controversies better. So if you think of companies like, I'm wearing one right now, a Patagonia, they've built trust over decades and decades through consistent value-driven actions. I know a ton of things about this company. They're really cool. One of my favorite things, I'll sidebar for a second, is if your Patagonia clothes get hurt or like torn or tattered or whatever, you can actually send them in and they will patch them with old other Patagonia clothes and send them back to you. So it's like almost like a lifetime warranty. They'll go through and patch everything if it's actually repairable and get that back to you, which I thought is really cool. But you'd have to go look up the actual values that the company has, but I don't even know what they are. And I'm already like, I believe that it's good. So this is an example of what a resilient brand looks like. They've got decades of trust from the consumer. And another thing that helps with this is diversifying the platforms that you're on. So not putting all your eggs in one basket. So own your content, whether it be through blogs, Facebook, Instagram, maybe you send out email newsletters, you have a podcast going, one of your employees does something. There's going to be lots of places that you can make up ground if one area has an issue. And that way the brand is not entirely tarnished, which obviously allows for long-term resilience. And this is also going to create just stronger brand advocates. The more likely they're going to defend you in times of crisis. So, if someone's like, hey, I went into the store, had a terrible experience, yada, yada, and 2 or 3 people comment back and they say, hey, I've been going there for 5 years and I've never had an issue. It had to have just been a freak accident. Something like that. Like people fighting on your behalf is going to look to a third party person that's coming into the conversation much better on your behalf if you have actual advocates for your brand, which comes back to, again, the brand resilience. And that really just swings back all the way to being authentic, being responsible with your engagements, and just monitoring everything that's going on inside of the brand itself. So wrapping up here, final thing, cancel culture is not going to be going anywhere, unfortunately. Maybe not unfortunately. I think a sense of accountability is a good thing. But instead of fearing it, like businesses can see it as an opportunity for self-improvement. It's direct feedback from the consumer, and it's also giving you deeper engagement with the audience. If you are always acting with integrity, staying adaptable, and you genuinely care about your community, you're not just going to survive. You'll probably have less of these issues, and you'll also just thrive through all of the internet platforms, and probably have next to zero in terms of like anything that has to do with cancel culture, which is my hope for everybody. And that is a wrap for today's episode. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. If you've got thoughts on today's topic, if you've been through some sort of cancel culture thing on either side of it, drop me a DM or comment wherever you're listening to this at. I'm very curious about this topic. I've only witnessed this firsthand a few times, not with a business that I own, but with clients and just friends, family, that kind of thing. And it's just a very, very interesting thing how one person can tarnish years and years of hard work. And I think it's extremely responsible for business owners or managers to look at ways that we can protect ourselves and also set up things like employee training, for instance, or policies that make sure that we're actually serving the consumer in the best way possible. So until next time, stay savvy, stay ethical, and keep talking social. See you in the next one.